some serious Etsy fatigue at the moment. I wonder if that's like a real thing. What's up YouTube? I am back. And if you're new here and you missed it in my last couple videos, I am reviving an old Etsy shop that I put on vacation 5 years ago. And I am documenting my journey to making it successful again. Get ready for a lot of trial and error. So here is what I've been up to this week. A couple new things. So I made a new book sleeve. This is fabric that I sourced yet again from Margie So Fun here in town. It is a pastel colored floral print. I also did something new. I did some diamond stitching this time, which is pretty cool because it adds like a more padded look, and it also feels more quilty. I don't think quilty is a word, but I'm going to use it anyways. I also did a yellow lining this time because I know in my last video I said I was going to cut out doing so much pink lining. So we have a yellow lining, and I also made the straps a little bit more chunkier, so when you tie it into a bow, it's thicker, and it also fits standard size novels. And here's my label here at the bottom right corner. I don't know if you could see it, Songbird Market Co. So it is completely official. So yeah, super cute. So that's new in the shop, or one of the new items. I actually have a lot of new items. I also purchased some packaging, some 10 by 13 poly bags, and I thought these were super fun. I love the colors, I love the design, and this is from Packagement. I found them on Amazon. Maybe later down the road, if I do sell some products at some point, I'll go ahead and design my own packaging using my own art in Vistaprint. But for now, I just figured, why not just support, someone small in the meantime until that happens. That's new. And then another thing that I experimented with is doing more bookmarks. So I have this bookmark here, but there's something wrong with it. I don't know if it's glaringly obvious. I tried out some new eyelets to attach tassels to my bookmarks, and I accidentally put it on backwards, and I'm really glad I didn't film that because it was really embarrassing when I did it. What a complete waste. However, lesson learned, don't put it on backwards. It's actually supposed to be the smooth part in the front and the rough side in the back. If you're wondering, this design right here is not my own. I actually found this in Canva. This template actually captured my eye for a reason, and I thought it'd be super fun to include it in my shop. But it is a guest check. It's what waiters and waitresses use to place food orders when you're at like a restaurant and stuff. And it reminded me of my mom because my mom was a waitress for many years. She actually used to work for a seafood restaurant for a good part of my elementary and middle school years. And my parents are divorced. So where I'm going with this is, after school, I would walk to the seafood restaurant to go hang out with my mom for a few hours while my dad was getting off work, and he'd come pick me up. But while I was there, she'd always, sit me down and give me a bowl of like clam chowder. She would also give me like a free soda. It was always during like the off hours right before dinner time. So she would, be allowed to like sit with me and spend time and ask me how my day was. And really that was like the only time I ever got to like spend time with her because she used to work late nights. I'm talking like she would get off work probably around like 11:30 at night. And by the time she'd come home, I'd already be fast asleep or I'd be staying with my dad. This just brings back a lot of like fond memories and totally reminds me like, wow, like she really worked hard for us kids. That is why I chose this template, and I added my own wording to it. It says, "You are amazing," because once in a while we do need to be reminded that we are amazing. So another thing I've been up to is updating every single photo that I have currently in my Etsy shop. My photos before, I don't know if anybody saw them in my last video as I was scrolling, but they seem really like dark and gloomy and weren't really like cohesive. And, as a buyer, if I see something like that, something tells me there's a little bit of chaos afoot. I like things to kind of like look the same all across the board, and I like things to be clear. I like to know exactly what I'm getting. I like zooming in and seeing all the little details. So I made sure to update with high quality photos. So what happened was all week, I spent the last 7 days updating every single picture using one of the good cameras I have in my house. So I had to learn all the settings. I had to learn what aperture was and ISO and go through all the, the presets and make sure everything was where it needed to be for the, the time of day. It was hard. It was hard doing that because all week it's been pretty gloomy here in Florida. and every bedroom in my house is painted gray, you know, we're not really working with a lot of light over here. Let's just say that. And I'm also not a photographer. Sun would come out, I would rush to get the camera. I'd put, you know, I'd put the items out and I would take pictures, take the SIM card out, take it to my computer, look at the photo. And of course the photo doesn't look like how it looked in the viewfinder, and I'd have to, you know, rinse and repeat all over again. It was such a grueling process, but I think we're finally in a good place with pictures. So I don't know, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. All right, so it is day 17. I love being transparent with, you know, how my Etsy shop's doing in terms of views, as well as shop visits and orders. So you know what, let's just jump into it. All right, we're here in the shop manager, and wow, Etsy really hates me today, but I think I have an explanation for that, and I'll get to that shortly. So let's go ahead and filter this by the last 7 days. And as you could see, we have 234 total views and 137 shop visits and 0 orders. We need to figure it out. So with that being said, you know, there is probably a reason for this influx, right? So a few things. If you have been following me, you know that I'm listing one listing per day for the next 30 days. Apparently Etsy really likes when there's a ton of activity with their shops. It shows that, you know, whoever is running the shop is pretty dedicated to, you know, posting things on their platform and, you know, eventually getting sales. So Etsy will rank you differently in their algorithm. So I've heard, based on activity. And I have been doing a lot of activity, like the pictures, updating my listings. I'm constantly toying with keywords, things like that. So I think some of that traffic is due to my activity. Another thing is, and this is something that I said I would never do, and that is running Etsy ads. So Etsy ads is something that I have a love-hate relationship with. I used to run Etsy ads when I was running my successful earring shop before I turned it into what it is today. What happened was I had my bestseller earrings. They were $29.99. They were polymer clay earrings. They were big, they're dangly. And I used to always get sales from an Etsy ad that was advertising these earrings. But the way that it worked was the ad would generate clicks. It would get up to $25 in ad spend, and then I'd get a sale. And then, you know, it'd keep going that way. I wasn't really making that much money after shipping costs on these earrings because most of the money was going towards my ad spend. But what was really helping me was the fact that whoever was buying my earrings really liked them, and then they would leave me good reviews. I loved the ad, but then I hated the ad because I made no money. But it helped me establish my shop a little bit, if that makes any sense. So with that being said, I tried to run Etsy ads yet again. All right, so I started the ads on November 1st, and then I actually terminated them last night on the 9th. So go ahead and apply that. Advertised, not advertised. All right, so here's my Etsy ad performance. So as you could see, in the last 9 days, because I turned these ads on the 1st, I had 3,158 views, 51 clicks, and unfortunately I spent $13 that I'll never get back. Like that money's gone because I took in 0 orders, 0 revenue, and 0 return on ad spend. So down here is where you could actually see what I had turned on in terms of the ads against which products. So I really thought this would be my best seller right here, the Frogs and Mushrooms paperback protector that I made, or book sleeve. This one had 1,279 views and 30 clicks. And in terms of click rate, you always want to be between, I'm told, 1 to 3% click-through rate, because that tells you as the seller that, you know, this product, the way that you have it set up as a listing, is already optimized. And unfortunately, this spent $7.55 alone over the course of 9 days and generated 0 orders. Like, what? You would think after like 30 clicks, you'd at least have like 1, right? Isn't that strange? This right here, these small keychain zipper pouches that I made, almost 1,000 views, 12 clicks. We're sitting at 1.3% click-through rate, and that also has 0 orders. And we spent $2.70. Yeah, not cool. And then the rest of these, this is an ad I turned off. I didn't feel like it was up to par with the pictures quite yet, so I didn't want to waste any more money beyond 31 cents on that one. But yeah, something tells me that there is some investigating I need to do, because this does not make sense to me. And just to give you an idea on what the listing itself looks like, we'll go ahead and view this in Etsy, because I don't think there's really truly anything wrong with this listing. I mean, it has all the correct keywords, the pictures are bright. I also included a video so you could see, you know, exactly what you're getting. Yeah, there is nothing wrong with this listing. I think it's at a good price point, $24.64. I don't do free shipping on these because it does cost about $5 to ship, but most shops that I did research don't offer free shipping on this item. So yeah, I want to know what's going on. Another thing we could do to kind of research what's going on is I first want to see the listing in the wild. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up another tab and I'm going to try to find this listing, which might make it a challenge because I'm no longer running ads on it. So it might not even show up. But if I type in book sleeve, which is a keyword that I use, oh, look at that. I'm actually in the #1 slot. Oops, let's go back up. 2 of my items are actually in the #1 and 2 slots, and you could see that they're not marked ad. But there's something, oh, there's a 3rd one. Okay, so we're on the first page. So that's pretty cool. I'm on the first page. Let's actually confirm this is the first page. I'm not like a victim of like some caching. Here, yeah, we're on page 1. But you know what I noticed? There's something that is rearing its ugly head, and I'm not really okay with that. So for example, this shop right here, they have a 5.0 star rating across 450 reviews, and that is listed right here. How come my 77 5-star reviews aren't showing? That is strange. Yeah, I don't like that. So if I was a buyer and I'm shopping for book sleeves, I generally would probably be looking at the review status of the seller that I'm considering, right? So this to me would scream brand new shop because there's no reviews. But this one right here, I'm like, you have an average of 5 stars across 450 reviews. Now I'm compelled to click on you. So I think that's the problem here, is that Etsy is hiding my 77 views on my listings themselves. So to a buyer, that means, can I trust you? Especially because a lot of people right now are shopping for the holidays. They're buying gifts for their loved ones. And you know, you ideally want to gravitate towards sellers that have reviews. You want to make sure that the item is good. So this is not good for me. I don't like that Etsy is hiding my reviews. But you know, at the same time, I think it's a little bit understandable because I did revive this thing after 5 years of not touching it. And I also have brand new products. I'm not selling earrings anymore. So yeah, I completely understand, I guess. So Etsy hiding my reviews presents a new challenge for me. And now I need to figure out, how do we overcome this? I think I have an idea. We need to come up with a deal that is too good to pass up. We need to figure out how to build trust, how to sell these products based on trust. And I think we need to offer an incentive. So here's my shut up and take my money idea that we're going to experiment with this week. So remember that bookmark I showed you? We're going to not only lower our prices, because that's always a good idea, also going to include a free bookmark with every purchase of a book sleeve. But now I'm just wondering, like, how do you actually put that out there? How does somebody know they're getting a free bookmark? So yeah, I'm going to put it in the description box. Hey, you know, purchase now, you'll get a free bookmark, you know, with the purchase of a book sleeve now through December 25th. So yeah, let's get the ball rolling on that and see what happens. Let's offer an incentive. We're calling this Operation Get Out of Etsy Jail because I need my listings to display my average 5-star reviews again. All right, so we're back on the computer. We're going to create those bookmarks that I was telling you about that I got from Canva. I already have it uploaded here into my Cricut app. And what we're gonna do is, we're gonna add a couple things. So I'm gonna first off add an offset because I do want some white space around the bookmark itself, because what we're gonna do is attach a tassel to it. So I'm just gonna go ahead and make this a little bit bigger. That looks fine. All right, just hit apply. And then I'm also going to make it white. All right, perfect. So another thing is, since I added an offset, this isn't quite done yet. You do wanna make this a single object so you can move it around. And so to do that, I'm gonna go ahead and click on the bookmark. I'm gonna hold shift, and I'm also going to select that offset. And what we're gonna do next is we're gonna flatten it. So now it's going to move around as one object. And also when you send it to the Cricut, it's going to cut around the white part instead of where the actual bookmark is. 3.54, 4.81. Okay, that might work. Maybe a little bigger. That's fine too. And I'm gonna paste. So now I have 2 bookmarks. And this is one thing I don't like about the Cricut, is that the cutting space is really small. Ideally, I would like 4 of these on a single sheet, but if it's only gonna allow 2, then so be it. We have the project sorted onto the mat, and there they are. So I'll just hit continue. Well, now I gotta make sure I actually have paper loaded up into my printer. Once you have your paper loaded up, we're just gonna go ahead and hit send to printer. And that's where the sensor marks are gonna go. I'm gonna click next. Make sure the correct printer is on there. Perfect, my Epson inkjet. I'm gonna turn off add bleed, but I am gonna use the system dialog because we do wanna go into the printer settings and make sure that everything is gonna be high quality on photo glossy paper. Now we're gonna laminate it in a matte laminate sheet. And somebody did ask me in my last video, why do I print on photo glossy paper if I'm just gonna laminate it in matte anyways? And the reason I do that is because with photo paper, you always get like the best print. I love the color pop, I love the vibrancy, the inkjet just in general does really well on photo paper. And with the matte effect, I essentially eliminate the reflection. I don't want any reflection off these bookmarks. And so not only do I get a nice color pop, but I also get a nice clean look. All right, we're back. And unfortunately, my Cricut machine ate one of them, so we're just gonna discard that. This one came out good. Just gotta run it through the laminator again, but looks good. All right, so I basically only have one shot at this, and unfortunately I'm using a hole punch that I found at a thrift store for like $3. I bought this as really just like a decorative piece for my office. I didn't intend on actually using it, but for this it turns out I actually need a hole punch to punch a hole here. So I'm really hoping that this does the job. So we'll see. Maybe we should practice first. Hey, that came in okay. Took the C off, but that's okay. Let's do the real deal. So I think the middle point is between there. So I'll put it in. Here we go. Hey, that's not bad. We'll take it. And for my next trick, so I actually just bought a bookmark tassel set. And it came with a bunch of different tassels. I chose this pink one because obviously that's gonna match this bookmark. But I also got this tool. I think it's called like a grommet tool, or that could just be the name on the box. But this tool is going to pretty much put a washer and an eyelet here, so it just looks more clean. So let's go ahead and do that, and I'll try not to do it backwards this time. It also came with this tool, but I think this is more for like leather working. Kind of looks like a torture device. So that's cool. Inside in, because we want the smooth side here. And now it's covering the T, but that's okay. This is just gonna be probably for pictures. And what do the directions say? Tiny part goes on the top. That's where the washer goes. And this goes here. Okay. So we're just gonna take this, put that there. I have like no idea how to hold this or what the best, really just going to fuse this all together. Oh man, that's crazy. Did I do it right? Oh, we did it. Oh, that looks so good. All right, and there you go. All right, so Operation Get Out of Etsy Jail is in full swing now. I have our Shut Up and Take My Money item here. So this is gonna be the free bookmark that I'm gonna include with every book sleeve purchase. And again, I haven't quite figured out how I'm gonna advertise this, if I am gonna go back to using Etsy ads and maybe putting in a thumbnail like, hey, free bookmark with every purchase, or if I'm just gonna include it in the description or the title, or maybe all three. I will decide that once I get back to my computer, but I think this is a pretty good deal. You know, this is a great incentive. And if it means that I'm gonna generate more sales in the meantime and lose a little bit of revenue just to gain back the buyer's confidence and get my reviews back up and hopefully have them displayed on my listings again when people search for me, that would be great. So go ahead and hit like and subscribe. I am always going to be transparent with you guys and share my Etsy dashboard week over week. And I look forward to doing that again with you guys soon in the next 7 days. So take care, and I will see you all next time.